Okay, today we are looking at lesson 4-4, solving multiplication and division equations on page 106. We've done this with addition and subtraction, so now we're going to do the same thing with multiplication and division equations. How can you get the variable alone, remember that's the key of what we're trying to do, in a multiplication equation? So here's our problem. Juan is an artist. He sold 3 paintings for a total of $45. If all the paintings cost the same amount, how much did he charge for each painting? So we know he sold 3 paintings for a total of $45, and they were all the same amount. So we have the equation 3 times x, x being the amount of each painting, equals, our pan balance, $45. So make sure you understand that X stands for each, the painting, or the cost of one painting. And we know he sold 3 paintings. All right, let's look at the next page. Okay, again, just like in any equation, your question is, how can I get x alone on one side of the equation? So we have 3x equals 45. Well, we know 3x means 3 times x. So, as in the past, we want to do the inverse operation or the opposite operation of multiplying, which would cancel out that multiplying. So, if we're multiplying by 3, then we want to divide by 3. So you have to do the same to both. If we're going to divide the left side by 3, then we're going to divide the right side by 3. And they're showing you a picture here, before and after. Okay, let's look over here at the example. So looking at the equation here, we have 3x equals 45. We discussed the opposite operation of multiplication is division, and sometimes you'll see it like this. So 3x divided by 3. And remember our pan balance, if we do that to the left side, we also have to do it to the right side, 45 divided by 3. Sometimes you'll see what people do is they'll just put, oh, that's not very clear, is it? They'll make it a fraction. So this is like saying 3x divided by 3 and 45 divided by 3, because if you think of a fraction, it's always the top number divided by the bottom number. And then these 3's cancel each other out, which means you're left with x on the left side. And what's 45 divided by 3? Well, 15 on the right side. So now we know that each painting that Juan sold was $15. Now, always check to make sure you're right. And by doing that, go ahead and substitute 15 in for x. So rewrite your equation, 3x equals $45. Well, does 3 times 15 equal $45? Or 45? Yes, it does. So we know that was right. Juan did charge $15 for each painting. Okay, let's look at another example on page 106. So how can we get the variable alone in a division equation? So they give us an equation here. Solve for x divided by 2.5 equals 40. Well, how can I get this x alone on one side of the equation if x is divided by 2.4 or 2.5? Remember, so we're looking for, if we're dividing x by 2.5, we want to do that opposite operation. So the opposite operation of division would be multiplying by 2.5. And that would cancel out the division. The dividing by 2.5. So that would just cancel that out and leave x alone. So here's what you would write. X divided by 2.5 equals 40. So again, because we're dividing by 2.5, we're going to do the opposite operation, which is multiplying by 2.5, which would then cancel that out, leaving you just with x on the left side. But the equal sign is that balance, so what we do to the left, we have to do to the right. So 40 then has to be multiplied by 2.5. you'd have to do the work, but if you think about it, 40 times, use your this distributive property, 40 times 2 plus 40 times 0.5 or half. Okay, 40 times 2 is 80, and half of 40 is 20, so you know it's going to be 100. And then always substitute to check. So what they want you to do is then take x, since you know x is 100, go ahead and write your equation. X divided by 2.5 is 40, and plug 100 in for x to check it. Well, is 100 divided by 2.5 40? It is, and it checks out. You would have the right answer. Okay, your homework for tonight is to do all of the guided practice. Okay, so look at what it's asking you first. So the first part says in 1 and 2, explain how to get the variable alone in each equation. So what are you going to do in number 1 so you have x alone? Write your equation and then write down what you would do. Number 2, do the same thing. Write your equation. Write what are you going to do to get w alone. And remember, you have to do it to both sides. And then for 3 and 4, they want you to go ahead and solve the equation for your variable t in number 3 and r in number 4. 5 wants you to look at exercise 1, which is over here, and just say which property of equality did you use to get x alone. Number 6 then asks you to go ahead and solve the equation in exercise 1. So actually solve for x. Find out what x is. And then 7 says in exercise 2, which property of equality did you use to get the variable alone? So bring that to class tomorrow and bring a question. See you tomorrow.